Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for BroadwayWorld. Jaime Camil, who is known to legions of fans from the hit television series Jane the Virgin, is the latest to step into the role of Billy Flynn in the musical sensation Chicago. He'll do it for 5 weeks only, beginning on May 31st. And I caught up with him here at the Algonquin just days before the big event.
You know him as Jane's father in Jane the Virgin. He is a super talented, charismatic fellow. I wish I had all of his looks and talent and personality. I've got my own. We love this guy. We adore him. He is a Latin superstar. I hope you'll join me in a lovely, warm welcome for Jaime Camil. In heaven.
Welcome back to Broadway. I'm going to say this is your Broadway musical debut. How does it feel?
It feels amazing. I'm so happy after what happened 11 years, this dream that got like frustrated in a way. I finally returned to Broadway and star in this beautiful, amazing musical, the longest American musical of all time. And I'm crazy because I'm rehearsing, but I decided to jump into a musical number yesterday with the ensemble. They are a tour de force of talent and precision. This show relays only and solely on the human element. And the ensemble, they're so freaking good and they're so amazing and they're so lovely. They receive you with open arms and you feel like part of the family right away. And Bianca Marroquin, my good friend for 15 years, she introduced me to everybody, so I kind of was introduced like a family member already, and that really helped. But I'm so happy to be here.
So what's it like living in the world of Kander and Ebb and Chicago?
Of the what?
Kander and Ebb, who wrote it.
Uh-huh. Well, it's great. It is great because it lives in its own universe. Amongst the Broadway shows and the musicals, Chicago lives in a very honest and sincere world and universe that took place in the 1920s. It's like based on true events. So it's just great. But again, I think that the most wonderful thing about being in Chicago is that it's a play that it's all about the human element on stage. And that's lovely because you really get to interact with your fellow actors and not with lights or with mechanics or you really interact with your fellow actors and actresses, and that's beautiful. Yeah.
And living in the world like Bob Fosse and Anne Rankin, you're moving with the ensemble.
Thank
Incredible
God,
numbers. Yeah, well, you move beautifully in the Fosse world.
I kind of Billy Flynn moves a little bit, but he doesn't move because everything moves around him. He makes everything moves. But it's I don't dance. My character doesn't dance. But I mean, what these guys, what the ensemble they do on stage is just mind-blowing. The perfection, the movement. It might seem like a very easy and it's so demanding, so demanding. I mean, they sweat buckets, and it's just wonderful to see them perform. I'm a big fan. You've noticed I'm a big fan of them. Exactly. So I'm probably gonna be fanning them when I'm on stage. I'm like, you're so good. I'm sorry. Let me be in character. But I just love them so much.
Do you wake up in the middle of the night running dialogue and hearing lyrics and songs?
Stop spying on me, please. Yes, I do that. Yesterday I couldn't sleep. Every hour I woke up and I had random lines of the book, haunting me. But I think we're getting there and we're doing. It's just a process, and you need to embrace the process and understand that you have 10 days to do it, and it's just a process that you need to be very, You need to have peace of mind with yourself and understand that it'll come. You drill it and drill it and drill it, and eventually it'll come. But the first 2 days are really overwhelming because you're like, oh my God, there's so much material, so much lines. And when Billy starts to speak, he speaks for 2 pages. He does. It's not it's very demanding actually, but it's very rewarding as well.
What does it mean to you coming back to Broadway, and what will May 31st mean to you, your first night on stage?
Oh my God, I don't know. It's going to be nerve-wracking, definitely, demanding. I'm probably going to lose a lot of weight that night, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I think we have still 5 or 6 more days of rehearsals, and and let's just put our heart and our soul into it. And I'm going to just I'm very well protected by the ensemble and by my fellow actors, and I think that's going to make the difference. To be in a company that is so beautifully tight and so close and so precise and so talented, I think that's going to help a lot.
I can't wait. We'll see you opening night.
Thank you.
You would put so many wonderful people into your show. Tell me what it means putting him into your show.
Richie, I'm trying to think of the last true Hispanic Latino star we had. We played the show in Spain, Mexico, Argentina. We've been all over the continent, had many, many Spanish language stars. But I can't think of one Billy Flynn that is on his level. So it's pretty exciting to see if we can reach that demographic.
He's so charismatic.
Isn't he, though? Yeah.
It'll be great, though, because he has so many fans from Jane the Virgin. And they'll be coming to Broadway for the very first time.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. That'll be a thrilling moment for us. Then we've done the right thing.
20 years. You're coming up on your 20th anniversary. What does it all mean to you, Barry?
What does it all mean? Richie, I get up every day and I go to work and I create shows, and I'm thrilled it's 20 years, but if you hadn't reminded me, it would have just been Chicago as great as ever.
People come from all around the world to New York, and they all come to see your show. It breaks through every language barrier. What is it about this show that everyone around the world falls in love with it?
It's a universal story. It's so timely. The story of justice and injustice, the story of the battle between the sexes, the fact that we live in a very, very cynical time where there should be justice and a good living for everyone, and that just doesn't happen. And I think Bob Fosse understood that, and he displays it in our show. On top of which, what a score. My God, man, if you don't want to talk about justice, you can listen to the music. And the characters are iconic. There are very, very few more fully fleshed out eccentric characters in a Broadway show as there are in Chicago. So dancing, best choreography on Broadway. So we have a lot of fun.
What gives you the greatest enjoyment when you stand in the back of the house and you watch audiences stand on their feet?
A great question. What gives me the greatest enjoyment? That I have 1,000 people coming into the theater a night, and they all become one. The work, it reaches them the same way, and 1,000 becomes one. That's thrilling.